This Civic Media podcast is sponsored by UW Organ and Tissue Donation. Organ donations are desperately needed, and now is the right time to become an organ donor. Talk to your family. Get the dot. Save lives. Go to heroicdeed.com.
To face of my conscience, coming to an understanding of myself, clear out all the old cobwebs, clean out the old books from the shelf.
December 14th, 2024. If it's 7 o'clock on Saturday morning, it's time for This Week in Waukesha. I'm your host, Don Brown, coming to you live and local from the office of former Alderman Don Paul Brown in my beloved Banting Park. I'm joined by the mighty Max Martinson in the WAUK studios in Radio Park. And to borrow from my good friend James Santel, we have an ambitious but achievable agenda this morning. First, Lyndsay Johnson from the Food Pantry is on hold to talk about a very special visitor she received on Monday during a very busy week. Second, Beau Blask from Mia's will be calling in to talk about their Festivus celebration this Tuesday, the 14th. And then in the second hour, we are honored to have state soccer goalkeeper champion Dawson of Lake County Lutheran in our beloved Priedeman Park here about a season to remember for his team. And then our final guest is Waukesha North alum Pat Nettesheim of Music Success, talking about his list of top Christmas songs, as well as some other great holiday activities they have going on over there, including great gift ideas. And we will have time for Acting Locally, Thinking Globally, and the Carol Minute. And also, Max, how are you this morning?
I'm doing pretty good. I had my last official day of school yesterday, so speaking of Christmas music, we had some fun and made a parody Christmas album for our head instructor, so it was very much enjoyed by all of the instructors and staff yesterday.
Well, if you have any little bits of that recording, feel free to share them here on the show.
I got a thumb drive of them. I can maybe pull them up here.
That sounds like a plan. Hey, and also, Max, just a heads up, I'll be sharing a little brief. I had a great interaction with your dad on social media regarding pasties, so more on that later. So it's going to be fun. Do we have Lyndsay ready?
We, in fact, do.
Awesome. Lyndsay, how are you this morning? Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we sure can. So, Lyndsay, you had a very special guest on Monday morning, came to the food pantry. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. So we had Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Rodriguez stop
Sara.
by. She wanted
Sara Rodriguez.
I apologize. It's a little early for me this morning, so I apologize.
No worries.
Sara Rodriguez stopped by, and it was a great visit. She's an incredibly wonderful person, and she wanted to stop by to see the good work that we're doing at the food pantry and get an understanding of food insecurity in Waukesha County. So it was a great visit.
That's terrific. And now, tell us, did you or anyone from your PR machine invite Lieutenant Governor Rodriguez, or how did that come about?
Sure. We didn't invite her, actually. She contacted us. She's from the community, and so she's been been involved with the food pantry in the past and wanted to stop by and see what we were up to.
And I think that's wonderful that somebody at that highest level of our state government is making the initiative proactively to learn more about how families are being taken care of, especially during the holiday season. And I have in front of me, Lyndsay, the the handout that you provided for Sara. In a couple metrics that stick out is from January through November, there were 34,100 total household visits to the food pantry, which represents a 106% increase since 2021. And a few other metrics in there that show that there really is continues to be a critical need, and that need unfortunately grows for helping families address food insecurity.
Absolutely. As you were kind of mentioning with her, this is a need that unfortunately isn't going away. With many of our families, food is becoming a greater and greater expense to bear. And so it's really been helpful for us to have a platform to share that this is a need in the community, and hopefully some listening ears so that we can start to problem solve how to address that need for a lot of families.
Sounds great. And on top of Lieutenant Governor Rodriguez's visit, you then had your open house on Wednesday night, which was well attended. I was there, and full disclosure, I'm proud to serve on the board, but I counted probably close to 25 in total attendance there. Current supporters as well as those interested in learning more.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we highlighted for Sara was that in order to address the growing number of people, we needed to do a remodel of our current space. So what ended up happening is we ended up removing a wall to enlarge the space, creating a couple of entryways to make it more efficient for our volunteers and clients, and then enlarging a vestibule. Since we've been able to do that, we've been able to serve clients with more dignity and in a faster amount of time. So we're grateful for that, but it's a nice opportunity to highlight to the community as well that this is what we're doing in order to address the community's food insecurity needs.
Yes, very much. And I want to add a few other metrics in here. 30% of the, for lack of a better term, clientele include children. 10% include seniors. 40% of families reported that someone in the household skipped meals to save money. And 57% reported running out of food before the end of the month. Now, it goes without saying, Waukesha County is one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest county in the whole state of Wisconsin. But as you can tell from these numbers, food insecurity still exists and continues to be a problem, not just for those who are poor and homeless, but for those working families, lower and middle income families. And when you see the people lining up, and I'm sure like in your second year, Lyndsay, you become more familiar with it. These are people that just look just like you and me. Same demographics, well-dressed people, responsible citizens that have a pitfall in the safety net regarding being able to provide proper nutrition for their families. What can people do, especially in this holiday season, to continue their support for the food pantry?
That's a great question. We're always interested in helping people host food drives at their work, at their church, at their school. We ended up getting about 10% of our food through food drives, but we would love to be able to increase that metric so that we can better serve our community. Donating funds is another great way to support our organization. We purchased a fair amount of food. This year so far, we've bought about $350,000 worth of food. That's milk and meat and eggs and things that we can't easily get donated. And so by contributing to the pantry, you allow us to make those purchases for our clients. And then also, if you've got a group that you're interested in sharing food insecurity with, I'm happy to come and do a quick presentation just to kind of build that awareness. But finally, if you're out shopping today for your last minute Christmas shopping, Meyer has Simply Give today. So if you want to go ahead and buy a Meyer Simply Give card, they will double match it today. So if you spend $10, they'll put in $20, and we can have $30 to purchase food at Meyer.
I'm really glad you mentioned that, Lyndsay, because I'm a big fan of Meyer's going back to my days, my Michigan State days. And they were the Walmart before Walmart. So it's not just for groceries. There's so many great things you can get there, gift ideas, clothing, other things for the house. So it's a great if you're doing your Christmas shopping now, some would call it last minute, some would call it early. For me, it's early. Head on over to Meyer's. Get something for the family and make a difference for the food pantry and for these families that we call our neighbors that live right in our own neighborhoods, as well as those that are in a more desperate need. So, and what time does that go to? Is that all day at Meyer's, Lyndsay?
That is all day at Meyer's. So just stop over. They double match up to $10,000. So this is a huge food drive or fundraiser for us. So we're grateful for that.
Terrific. So we have 2 minutes. Real quick, Lyndsay, I want to talk about, you've added a new member to your team that's going to play a leading role in the fundraising and event planning efforts. Tell us about him.
Sure. Jeremy Addy is new to the food pantry, but not new to nonprofits. He started with the food pantry in October, but he's got about 25 years of experience in fundraising and communications with nonprofits. And so recognizing that our expenses are going up in order to serve our clients and to address food purchase needs, we did do recruitment to get a skilled individual to join our team. And so we're grateful that he's on board. The other nice part of this is we have a single point of contact now for businesses and for individuals who are doing food drives. So hopefully that will make that process a lot easier for folks.
And thankfully for you, that's one or two less hats that you have to wear as executive director.
Absolutely.
So that empowers you to do more great things on top of what you've already achieved in your first amazing year with the food pantry. So how are we doing on time here, Maxie? About a minute. Okay, so, hey, Lyndsay Johnson, Executive Director, Food Pantry serving Waukesha County. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. And be sure to keep the food pantry, everybody, in your minds this holiday season. We'll be back with Acting Locally, Thinking Globally. And don't forget, my guest next week is Pete Schwaba talking about great Christmas movies. Thanks again, Lyndsay Johnson.
You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
And while the world is waiting for the sun rising, my heart is calling you.
Hey, we're back on This Week in Waukesha, and no show is complete without the second segment song, courtesy of Waukesha's favorite son, Les Paul, with wife Mary Ford. And it looks like the sun is creeping its way out here. I know you can't see it where you are in Radio Park, Max, but it looks like we're going to have a beautiful day, at least temperature-wise, thankfully. I think it's going to be as high as like 37, which on December 14th, I will gladly take. So I want to apologize to anyone that saw me marching in the Waukesha Christmas Parade that were trying to get my attention or waving. Something happened. I don't know if it was a virus that I didn't know about or a cough that continues or cold, but I had a hard time hearing out of my right ear, and it really had an impact. in terms of being able to acknowledge people. I was at a meeting for a client up in Kaukauna on Tuesday, and had the opportunity to sit next to somebody that has a very influential role at the state level in workforce development, and was embarrassed that I sat on her left when I should have sat on the other side so I could hear her better. And even when I got up to speak to the assembly, if you will, the group, I had to let them know about what was, because I think maybe I was talking too loud into the mic. So, but it's gotten better, my hearing, and I went to see my doctor, Dr. Paul Dernier, and he was fantastic. No hearing loss, no fluid or wax. He thinks it might have been from a virus that I had that developed swelling that impacted my ability to hear. So now it's getting better. But he's someone I want to shout out because he's focused on care. He gives me time and attention, as well as all his patients. He's not rushing to get me out the door like a lot of doctors these days that have a 15-minute cap that's enforced by the insurance companies. And he was focused on care and not trying to pad a bill. He gave me different options in terms of next steps if I did decide to look at anything else. But really, it's a couple ibuprofen to help the swelling go down and so I can get full hearing back in the right ear. And Dr. Paul was referred by my former dentist, Dr. Kevin Kennedy, who's located right next to our former studio there in Wisconsin Avenue. And he has the same approach, care-based care. His whole staff is trained that way. And it seems in the dental industry it's even worse, where staff at different dental shops are trained to pad a bill, to upsell, and it's so predatory. And it's it happened to me recently. I had to change dentists because my wife changed jobs and had new insurance, and so with this plan, you're forced to use one dentist, chop shop. No, but it was just a group dentist, and first couple years were fine, but then recently I was called for a recent appointment that I thought was a checkup. Really, without my consent, they did a diagnostic. They said, "Oh, you need a specialist," and they referred me to a specialist. And big pitch, big bill. Insurance covers very little of it, and I went and got a second opinion, and they said they're full of bunk. And the opinion was from a family friend, so it didn't cost really anything. It was a huge favor, but not many people have that kind of advantage, and people will just kind of follow this trap. And it was the same playbook that this shop had followed as another one that we used to go to like 12 years ago, and it was like almost step by step. And I said, well, "What about my checkup?" And they said, "Well, the visit covers this diagnostic I'm doing, and no checkup. In fact, until you see this guy, we're not going to give you another checkup." So, with this new change in the guard at the national level, and for those who are really hell-bent on what they believe is making America great again, how about we make healthcare affordable for entrepreneurs, if I can pronounce it correctly, and working families, instead of being pigeonholed by employer-based insurance. If Bobby Jr., or I be called Bobby Gambin, becomes the HHS secretary, and he truly is his father's son, he will go after the insurance companies and their chokehold around health care. And I want to have a dialogue on future shows about what we can do to improve health care at the local level, and what we can do to advocate and put pressure on local practitioners to do the right thing. So, and then on a more positive note, switching gears, I guess we could say the opposite of good healthcare. Max, I had a really fun social media moment with your dad, Civic Media's Corey Hartman, involving a post about my father-in-law's homemade pasties. Now, Max, I got to ask, do you know what pasties are?
Yes, I was exposed to them at a very young age. Unfortunately, I can't eat like the bottom crust of pasties because I have a really bad sensitivity to the lard that they use to make the crust, but I can do the top.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, but really quick, for those few of you listeners that don't know what they are, they're essentially kind of, it's your favorite protein. My father-in-law uses ground beef and pork, and sometimes he mixes it together, like in this recent batch. It's almost like a shepherd's pie, but instead of with mashed potatoes, it's a huge puff pastry that's wrapped around it, and it has its roots in the Upper Peninsula, where the wives would make it for the miners before they go off to work, because it'd be wrapped in a towel or blanket, and it would continue to be warm during lunchtime. So, and it's still a favorite. And when my wife posted it, I tagged a few college friends. I went to Michigan State that were Yoopers, and they were really pleased to see that. In fact, one friend, gave it a really big compliment. But Corey chimed in and he said, "When can I stop by?" And I said, "Corey, be careful what you wish for, because my father-in-law also makes his own wine, and Rick is his name. Rick was the owner, along with his wife Kathy, of Rick's Restaurant, which was a staple in New Berlin for more than 20 years, from the early 70s through the early mid-90s. And one of their signature items was fried chicken, which I know he's going to make for us one of these days. And so I said, Corey, you better bring your buffet pants if you're going to come, and maybe an Uber to get you home after trying some of that homemade wine." And he responded, "I'm moving in, Don Brown. I have stretchy pants." So I thought that was a fun moment to share with one of the great powers in the civic media stratosphere, who makes so many great things possible. And I figured you'd appreciate that too, Max. So looking forward to a future pasty party. I still pronounce it wrong too, so it's my Uber buddies would say I sound like a real troll. But anyway, we're going to have Beau Blask coming on next to talk about Festivus, as well as so much more here on this beautiful Saturday morning on WAUK 540 AM. Stick around.
Dear one, the world is waiting for the sunrise. Every little rosebud is covered with dew, and my heart is calling for you. The thrush on high, his sleepy mate is calling.
You're an organ donor, right? Well, here's a tragic fact. Approximately 20 people die each day waiting for precious donated organs. You could make a life-saving decision simply by getting that important dot on your driver's license. That little dot shows those who need to know that you've made a decision to donate organs at a critical time. Go to heroicdeed.com to learn more about the importance of organ donation and how you can make your wishes known. Talk to your family. Get the dot. Save lives. heroicdeed.com.
They got cars big as bars, they got rivers of gold, but the windows right through you, it's no place for the old. When you first took my hand on a cold Christmas Eve, you promised me Broadway was waiting for me. You were handsome,
You were pretty queen of New York City.
when the band finished playing, they held out for more. Sinatra was swinging, all the junk they were singing. We kissed on the corner, then danced through the night. The boys of the end were
You pretty queen of New York City.
Go away, babe. And the bells were ringing out for Christmas Day.
And the bells were ringing out
You're a
Christmas
bum, you're
Day.
a punk, you're an old
Hey, we're back on This Week in Waukesha on WAUK 540 AM and the Civic Media app. And that you're going to hear throughout December on my shows, because it is simply, without debate, the greatest Christmas song of the 20th century, the Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues with Kirsty MacColl. And Pat Nettesheim will be on in the second hour to talk about his favorite Christmas songs. And I think he agrees with me that is the greatest Christmas song of the 20th century. And Max will be sneaking in a few parodies that him and his, ad hoc band put together at your Christmas party. And then before, I know we got Beau on hold. Before we introduce Beau Blask, I want to give you a couple Santa sightings. Santa will be at La Casa de Esperanza, Breakfast with Santa from 9 to 12. I'll be volunteering there at 10 o'clock. And then he'll be over at Sweet Dreams, I believe during the lunchtime today. And they're going to be doing some fun things, raffle and other giveaways. And obviously for kids of all ages, you have a couple great chances to see Santa here in the Shaw. And I believe Mrs. Claus will be joining Santa over at Sweet Dreams, if I do remember correctly. But now I got a lot of problems with you people. Actually, no, not me, but Beau Blask, the owner of Mia's. Is he there, Max? Beau, how you doing this morning?
Oh, we're doing wonderful. How are you?
Good. A Festivus party is taking place at your restaurant on Tuesday, right?
Yes, Tuesday, 4 o'clock, 4 p.m.
And will there be an airing of grievances and feats of strength?
You bet there will be. Airing of grievances, feats of strength. We will be having some time to look at our unadorned pole and marvel at its strength.
Nice. And then will there be a Festivus pole?
There will be. Right now I have two of them. So in case you didn't see the first one, there will be a second one there.
And point of local pride, even though it's a Seinfeld creation, the Festivus poles are made here in Milwaukee.
That's right.
So you got to like that.
That's right.
Yeah. So will there be any specials or other fun, promotions going on during the Festivus celebration?
Yeah, so there's a few things kind of happening all at once. The first and biggest thing, this is our third year doing Festivus, and it's a lot of fun. It's kind of an opportunity for us to give it back to our customers and have a great little celebration for it. It's a bunch of free food. There's live music happening at the same time, presented by the Ian Ash and the Last Bees. They're coming back to reprise their role for a third time this year, and they're always a lot of fun, and they draw a big crowd. I'll be personally bartending this event, so come on and drink my bar dry. And then on top of that, we'll also be featuring Jay Henry on our menu for that night, doing Tom and Jerry's. And if you come early enough, you get to keep the glass. So it's a lot of fun.
Sounds great. Nice. Now, Beau, I know Mary Jane Sanchez will be calling in later to talk about the walk that your Mia's is a part of.
That's right. And that's part of that Tom and Jerry's.
The Jay Henry walk? Okay, great.
Yes.
Sounds good. Hey, just to interject one thing. The Breakfast with Santa at La Casa is for La Casa families only, so apologize. Not open to the public, but any La Casa families listening, be sure you make it. And it goes till 11. So, again, my apologies for that. But you can see Santa. Anyone can see Santa and Mrs. Claus over at Sweet Dreams today. And while you're there, ask Henry about the Doughboys, maybe the world's greatest pastries. So, but back to Mia's. You still have your butternut squash ravioli on the menu, right, Beau?
We do, and I was going to take it off for December. It was only a November thing, but it seems to be a really popular item, and people keep asking for it. So it's here to stay up until at least February.
Love it. Thanks for
get it while it
doing it. So Festivus starts at 4, right?
That's right. It goes from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
Okay, and now I was telling Mary Jane I might be getting there a little later because I've got Cemetery Commission at 4:30, and then I've got Food Pantry Board meeting at 5:30. So if I get there like right around like 7, you can keep the festivities going a little later.
We will, so long as Don is there, we will keep the party rolling.
All right. Well, I greatly appreciate that. And what else is new at Mia's?
Well, we've done a little bit of decorating. So if you guys are out and about, come take a look. We have some new artwork on the walls. We got some new paint. It looks really great. but I don't want to give too many details away. You're going to have to just kind of come in and see for yourself.
I like that. And I really like all the great developments going on there lately. Looks like a lot of great staff.
Absolutely.
And you're always adding something to the specials list, too, whether it's the drinks or the or from the kitchen. So there's always something new and exciting going on. Or at Mia's.
Yeah, we always have our 1920s drink special, which is kind of unique to Mia's, where we have a unique cocktail list of all 1920s Prohibition cocktails. And they're all made from scratch.
That's great. And any specific holiday ones besides the Tom and Jerry's?
Aside from the Tom and Jerry's, we actually decided not to do holiday-specific cocktails this year.
Okay. And that's fine, because I know with those Prohibition-era cocktails you have, they are festive in their own right.
Absolutely.
So if nothing else, it'll be a great place for people to go to get some great cocktails.
That's right. But we have a wonderful bartender. If you kind of come in with some ideas of your own, we can make anything that somebody wants.
Sounds good. And what's your bartender's name so we can tell everybody? Is that Beau?
Oh, Lauren. Yep. Or
Lauren? Okay.
That's right.
Terrific. Well, good. I'm really glad to hear it. So, well, great. Hey, I appreciate you calling in this morning, especially because you're on vacation, right?
I am. Isn't that wonderful?
Is it a vacation or a staycation?
Oh, it's more of a staycation.
Okay, but it's good. It's great that you're giving yourself time off with all that you do.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure, like you're in the comfort of your home. You may have like a faux beach setting or something on your video screen or something, or maybe some tropical music or something to give you that feeling of being out of town on vacation. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. It's on the background of my screensaver as we speak. It looks wonderful.
Great. And so your first day back at the office will be Tuesday with Festivus.
It is. Well, I'm at Mia's right now, so I'm taking a vacation from some other things, but I'll always be at Mia's.
Okay.
I don't take a vacation from that, but my first day back at the office will actually be Monday night at 11 p.m., so looking forward to it.
Sounds great. Well, we're looking forward to it, too, and anybody listening who enjoyed that classic Seinfeld episode and wants to have a little fun, be sure to join Beau and his many friends at Mia's this Tuesday, the 17th, from 4 until 7 o'clock, for what should be a really fun Festivus celebration. So, Beau, thanks again for joining. Anything else you want us to know before we let you get back to your vacation?
Don, this is going to be such a great Festivus. With our third year rolling, we don't come to mess around. So I'm excited to have this event again,
okay.
And I'm excited to see how this kind of turns out.
Yeah. Will you be clearing tables in the dining room for the feats of strength?
Well, absolutely. Here's the rule: you take me down during the feats of strength, you get the restaurant. Okay, Don?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be up for that, Beau. I love you too much, man. I don't have any problems with you. So, but
well, you better come with a list of your grievances because it's
that we can do.
For that as well. Perfect.
Count me in. Sounds great. Beau Blask of Mia's invites you to Festivus this Tuesday, the 17th, from 4 until 7 or thereabouts. So, Beau, thanks again. Get back to your vacation, and we'll see you Tuesday night.
Don, thank you so much for having me on today.
You bet. No, it's a real pleasure. Anytime. Sounds great. Hey, while we have time, we got some local news. I want to give a big shout-out, big congrats to the Waukesha Wings hockey team for winning their home opener on Tuesday night, 6-1. They also won in a nail-biter last night over Ice Force, 3-2. So way to go, Wings. Wings are a combination of our high school teams, and I believe that includes CMH. And it might include another high school outside of Waukesha. But big shout-out to goalkeeper Tommy Radomski. Obviously doing a great job, and he missed much of last season because of pneumonia. So really excited to see that he's back in full force and doing great things there in the net. So I love it. Hey, we also have some birthday wishes going out to some regular listeners and friends. Euro Kushner of Alaska Fresh. I know many of you are familiar with them at the Waukesha Farmers Market. Sports writer Pat Fitzmaurice. WAUK's Greg Bach. Waukesha West Mom Laura Teffer. And another West Mom, Erin Kritzky, mother of Lincoln Kritzky, who was Ohio State bound for college hockey. So I'm sure she's got a lot to celebrate. So, and correction, Tommy Radomski had mono. He didn't have pneumonia last year, so apologies on that. But other birthdays include South Dad Nick Reed and school board member Diane Voigt. And if I missed a birthday from this week or anybody else, feel free to call in using the Civic Media app. I also have some basketball news to report on in high school. The Black Shirts of Waukesha South lost a close one to Catholic Memorial 74-69 at CMH. Looked like a good one. I'm sorry I missed it. CMH is now 2-2 in conference, and South is 1-1. South hosts Muck on Tuesday the 17th. CMA plays at Marquette University High today at 4. And then they host Arrowhead on Tuesday and Ocon on Friday. North got crushed by Arrowhead last night, 71-32 at Arrowhead. They remain winless at 0-5. West suffered a similar fate at Muck last night, losing 68-38. The Wolverines are now 4-2, 1-1 in conference. And in women's basketball, the Lady Wolverines of Waukesha West avenged the men's loss last night with a 43-35 win over the Lady Mucks. They are now 6-3, 3-2 in conference. The Lady Crusaders of CMH were also victorious with a 56-46 win over non-conference Elkhorn to go 6-1 on the year. They remain 2-0 in conference. Like their male counterparts, they will host Arrowhead on Tuesday and Ocon on Friday, both games at 5:30 before the men. So you got a couple nice double headers there. Some great Classic 8 rivalries going on. So much more to report on. Local news, local sports. And in the second hour, again, we're going to have Dawson Zuer, state champion goalkeeper, and champion musician Pat Nettesheim here on This Week in Waukesha, WUK 540 AM and the Civic Media app.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
He sees you when you're asleep. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. You better be good for goodness sake.
Hey, welcome back to This Week in Waukesha with your host, Don Brown. That's me. And the Mighty Max on the board down there in Radio City. I want to thank, we should have Mary Jane Sanchez on hold to talk about the Jay Henry Walk, but she also sent a text reminding everybody, if you're interested in running for office, the spring elections there will be for the following aldermanic districts: 1, 4, 5, 8, 9, 11, 12, 14, 15. Any interested candidates can pick up a packet of information at the clerk's office. The deadline for filing campaign registration statements, declaration of candidacy, and nomination papers is on Tuesday, January 7th, so at 5 p.m., so a little later than in previous years, so that's a good thing. So, and Max has just informed me Mary Jane is waiting. Janie, are you there?
Yes, good morning. Good morning to everybody.
Good morning. All right. So tell us what's going on.
Well, every year I enjoy having Tom and Jerry's at a different establishment with family or friends. And there's a picture circulating from 2016 where a lot of the people, even older people, we all went out for Tom and Jerry's at Billy D's. And then at some point they changed hands and location. So then we used to go to Eric's Porterhouse. Well, as you know, they recently closed. And so I hang out on Wednesdays over at Mia's. That's how this whole thing started. And said, hey, Beau, will you make Tom and Jerry's? And he said, sure. So it happened to be that the J. Henry Bourbon Company.
Keep talking, Mary Jane. Bear with you.
Sure. From Madison, a distillery, beautiful, amazing distillery and farm out in Madison that works with the state of Wisconsin Department of Agriculture for a special red corn. You know, when you Thanksgiving, when you have corn hanging on your door front, there's a red corn, and they use it and they propagate it and actually grow it on the land, and it's all with the Department of Agriculture, University of Wisconsin, and they use this corn to make their bourbon. So Mary Allen from J. Henry said, well, I hope you're going to use our bourbon. And so Beau said yes, I said yes, and that's started a 13-bar restaurant holiday walk, W-A-U-K walk, from 12/7 to 12/28 at 13 locations around the city of Waukesha. And you can stop at these locations and keep the glass with their special drinks. So the locations are Maddie's over on the corner of Madison, that's why it's called Maddie's, and Broadway, Lou's Lucky Penny, Hannon's right downtown, the old post office, Spring City Winehouse, Magellan's, Mainstream has a cute little Santa boot, Club 400 has a martini glass, definitely Mia's, you get to keep that old authentic Tom and Jerry glass. People's Park has a beautiful North Pole distillery glass. Nice Ash has a John Henry glass. Travieso has a ornament drink glass. Bosco's has Naughty and Nice Club glasses. The Destination also has a J. Henry engraved glass. And I think I covered them all. Spring City Winehouse as well. So stop by at any of those locations, pick up a passport. It's actually a postcard with the locations on the front, the names on the back. Fill out your name and address, and J. Henry will send you free stuff from the farm and distillery. Don, have you returned?
Oh, yeah, I've been back a few minutes now, and I have an in-person guest coming in the second hour. He got here a few minutes early. This is state champion goalkeeper Dawson Zuer. And as you know, Mary Jane, but I have a dog named Popsicle who he gets excited when anyone comes by. And on all the times I've been broadcasting from home, he's never made a peep. And there's always people walking their dogs, or you have the morning walkers and everything. And he's been a very good boy, but Dawson's my first in-person guest, and luckily Dawson's a dog man because they're really hitting it off. You should see the smile on Popsicle's face right now. So, but Mary Jane, you've given us a lot of great information about the J. Henry Walk, and you got me excited about bourbon. I know we started the walk last week. We had dinner last night at People's Park, and are they included in the walk?
Yes, they are.
And we forgot our card. So we're hoping they redeem us in one way or another.
Okay, they will. If not, we've got you covered.
Okay.
Because I can track you, LOL.
Sounds great. There's so many great dining options in downtown Waukesha.
Yes, there are. We have very many nice ones.
And the holiday decorations at People's Park, especially in the second floor, they did a really great job.
Oh, so. I know. Everything inside or outside is beautiful. They really have separate artists that make these things. There's a brand new one that went up that was like a mannequin head, like when you go
Okay.
to the beauty salon, and they adorned it with ornaments. And I was there when they were hanging it up. And they keep adding to that large art piece over their bar.
Mm. Do you know who decorated that one tree across from People's Park? In that tiny lot on the corner, or the women's guitar, with all the women rock stars on it. That tree is decorated from top to bottom. Who's responsible for that? It's really cool.
That is the one tree that's allowed to be decorated besides the Christmas tree downtown Waukesha, and that's because it's on private property. So the city does not decorate their trees. For instance, at the Christmas tree that's owned by the Berg Management, it's on the Rotunda property, and so it's decorated. Same thing with the tree you're talking about across the street from People's Park. That parking lot, which the tree is on, is owned by Susie and Jim Taylor. So that is their property, and they do a beautiful job for every season to decorate that tree.
Mary Jane, thanks so much for calling in with this information. Stick around in the second hour. We got a state champion here, as well as Pat Nettesheim, and so much more here on This Week in Waukesha on WAUK 540 AM and the Civic Media app.
To face of my conscience, coming to understand of myself, clear out all the old cobwebs.
December 14th, 2024. If it's 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, it's still time for This Week in Waukesha, Hour 2. I'm your host, Downtown Donnie Brown, and I'm coming to you live and local from the office of former Alderman Don Paul Brown here in our beloved Banting Park. And as many of you know, and I'm joined by the mighty Max Martinson down there in Radio City at the WAUK studios. Maximilian, thanks a million. Max is going to be playing us some Christmas songs for us. I can't wait to hear. And as many of you, or maybe as most of you don't know, Banting Park is adjacent to Priedeman Park. So this neighborhood that's surrounded by big roads, Moreland and Blue Mound, you don't know those big roads are there because we've got like 3 parks at least, and a lot of green space. And so I mention this because my guest in person here at the office of former Alderman Don Paul Brown is a denizen of Priedeman Park and was in the news a lot during November as the star goalkeeper for Lake Country Lutheran, who won the Division IV Wisconsin State Championship. And his name is Dawson Zur. Dawson, how are you this morning?
Pretty good.
Terrific. Let me start by saying congratulations.
Thank you.
Does it still feel great a month later?
It feels pretty good, but sometimes I forget that it even happened because I've got wrestling season right now, so I'm like focused on that.
Sure. How's wrestling going so far?
Pretty good. We got a lot of new wrestlers. So we've got maybe 8 freshmen, a lot of returning sophomores, and then 2 transfer students who joined wrestling in the sophomore class.
Now, is it fair to say for a small private school, Lake Country Lutheran's got a great athletic tradition all throughout, men's, women's. I know basketball's tough. How's football?
Our football team, they were pretty good this year. They ran into Stratford in the playoffs, and they lost them. And unfortunately, it was at Stratford.
Okay.
So it was 3.5 hours away.
Were they victim to some of the bad seeding that's now being investigated or being reevaluated by the WIAA?
I don't think they were that much. Although I do know that we beat a team late in the season, like one of the final 2 weeks, and that team was a division ahead of us, and they got the 2 seed, and we were the 3 seed or 4 seed in the bottom division.
Okay.
So it was a little.
Was that for soccer or football?
That was for football.
Okay, yeah. So let's jump back to soccer, which was your sport. And tell us about this. What was your record, regular season record? Did you guys win your conference?
No, we placed 4th.
Wow. And what was the record?
We were 13-2-1.
Wow, still a great record. The great conference if you're 4th place and 13-2-1.
And both of our losses and our tie were all in conference matchups.
Wow. Did you face any of those teams in the playoffs, or did they got different seeding and fell victim to other teams or teams that you beat maybe?
One team we lost to, USM, University of Milwaukee School, they weren't in our sectional, so the only way we would have played them is if they made it to state, and so did we.
Okay.
And then the same with Brookfield Academy, who we tied.
Right.
They were in a different sectional, so there was never any chance.
Okay.
But then there was St. John's Military Academy.
Right.
And we lost to them. They beat us twice last year, once in the regular season and once in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they even beat us earlier in the year 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the 1 seed over them, so they were the 2.
Okay.
There was a little bad seeding there.
No, sure. But you took advantage of it, and you ran the table. And the semifinal and the final were both really exciting games. Tell us about those.
Yeah, I mean, like the Kiel match you're talking about at state.
Yeah.
So they were a big team. Their goalkeeper was 6'4".
Kiel, Wisconsin, right?
Yeah. Their goalkeeper, I remember, was like 6'4".
Wow.
Like 190 pounds, I think. And during practice, I would let in a goal and be like, 6'4", 190's getting that. And, better shots.
You would say that to yourself, or the coach
I would tell that
to
to the guys shooting the shots.
All right.
So our striker would take a shot, and maybe I'd just make a bad play on the ball, and I'd tell him 6'4", 190's not getting that, or is getting
that. Yeah. Oh, good. So you challenged them to. Because what was the final score of that game? It's like
3-1.
It's 3-1. Wow.
Yeah.
And when did you let that one goal in? Beginning or the end?
We were up
in the
3-0 with
so it was inconsequential.
5 minutes left in the game.
And was that a mercy goal, or just they got one in finally?
Well, our center back, our left center back, he had gotten a yellow. So it was one of our midfielders playing center back.
Okay.
And then another midfielder who shouldn't be playing CDM probably came back and then made a bad pass to our fill-in center back. And then our fill-in center back just got shoved down by their striker.
Yeah.
And I missed the ball. So
it happens. But you were near perfect up until that point, obviously well enough to get to state play. Now, the state championship game, who was that against? It was another Lutheran school, right? Shoreland Lutheran, yeah. And that was a 1-0 final, right?
Yep.
Wow. So you were dynamite that game.
Yeah, I mean, my teammates did most of the work.
That's how your dad describes you, too. It's very, very modest and unselfish.
Yeah, I mean, like.
Let's do this. How many shots on goal were there that game?
I think there were 7 or 8.
Which isn't a lot, right? Even for soccer?
It's a good number for me.
Yeah.
Most of the season, I would just stand in goal, maybe touch the ball once or twice in the whole game. So.
Sure. So Charlotte put on the heat, and you shut them down.
Yeah.
That's great. But it sounds like you have a great defense and a great offense in front of you that they kept them out of your side of the pitch most of the game.
Yeah, I mean, my defense, we had right back who had he had come to like captain's practices during the spring.
Okay.
But he kind of always flirted with the idea of playing soccer. Yeah. And then he finally joined this year, and he ended up taking another guy's spot at the right back. and he played really good. So,
Yeah.
and then the other 3 guys, they're just really good players and playing.
And that's what I love about you, Dawson, is you never played any club soccer.
No.
You played rec, and then you did some other sports, and you picked it back up again freshman year.
Yeah. I was not good freshman year.
That's what you. But obviously, great coaching helped you improve, as well as your own commitment to.
Yeah, I mean, my coaches helped a lot. Like our assistant head coach, he was a goalkeeper for a little bit in
his career,
high school, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
And so he helped a lot. And then I was able to go to a few camps last summer.
Nice.
And get better.
Okay. Sounds great. Yes, we were talking offline. When people think of goalkeepers in Waukesha, they think of Waukesha alumnus, graduated last year, Charlie Morose, who's now doing great things for Eau Claire. And I think maybe at some point would enter the transfer portal and go higher because he was all state his junior year. So did you ever get a chance to see him play, or have you ever met Charlie? Or
I believe we played him my sophomore year.
Okay.
Because he would have been a junior that year.
Okay.
And we lost. I wasn't playing on the varsity team.
Okay.
But I was still a JV squad.
You got to watch him, though.
I got to watch him play, yeah. Our team didn't play that great of a game. We lost 4-0 and didn't really have to do anything with him. And also Waukesha South, their whole team was much better than.
Sure. Well, Billy Schwartz, if he's listening, I'm sure he'd be really
Yeah,
pleased
I
to
know
hear that.
him.
Billy had a great high school soccer. He was in high school around the same time your dad was, I believe, too. Your dad, John, went to Waukesha South.
I think it was like a 2-year difference.
2-year difference, okay.
Not
Yeah.
sure.
So now, John, I always talk about, was a baseball player, a catcher, and he played with one of his best friends, Frank Caliendo Jr., and Frank's dad. Frank was the coach. And does he talk about because they had some great teams back then.
He talks about how his parents brought like a beer to a game and all got shunned for it.
Oh, really?
And then they said, "We know your kids drink."
Wow.
We confiscate their drinks all the time.
Oh, that's hilarious. So that's why he sent you to Lake Country Lutheran, so you wouldn't have that stigma if you had gone to South.
Maybe.
Now, you said you have college plans.
A little bit.
Yeah, where are you going to go in the fall?
I'm thinking UW Lacrosse.
And your grandfather went there.
Yeah, my grandfather went there. And I hope to kind of follow his footsteps to go into high school teaching.
Nice.
Of history.
All right. I love history. That really pleases me to hear that. So, and my own son, too, Evan wants to teach like social studies in high school when he graduates. So, that's great. But you're hanging up the cleats, though, when you go to college, right?
Yeah, I'll probably play some rec.
Maybe some intramurals, yeah.
Intramurals, yeah.
Well, good. I mean, it's – so in the last minute, you're up 1-0. Where was Shoreland threatening it all?
In the very last minute, yeah. I wasn't very close. Like, by then, we had gotten the ball for the last minute.
Okay.
But if you take, like, the last 15 minutes, they were putting pressure for, like, 10 of those minutes.
Wow. So it was pretty nail-biting.
So, yeah, it was pretty close.
Yeah. And what was the celebration like when was it a horn that went off or a whistle or?
I mean,
a
bunch of the guys ran to the corner, and then I kind of jogged over there. And I was like, what do we do, guys? I'm not really sure.
Sure. That's great. Well, Dawson, I know there's a wrestling meet you want to go watch, cheer your JV team on. I want to thank you so much for joining, and congratulations on your Lake Country Lutheran Division IV state champions in soccer. I wish you all the best, and don't be a stranger. Hope to see you around the neighborhood. You and your dad we'll kick the ball around.
I don't know about that.
Thanks again. We have so much more. The Carroll Minute is next, and then Pat Nettesheim joins us here on This Week in Waukesha on WAUK 540 AM and the Civic Media app. And I don't know if Popsicle is going to let Dawson go here, but we'll try. Don't go away.
Down Georgia Street Arcade, where the Bow children play, gathering up charity to help them make their day. For me, I was once their age. Once I was young, but I know I had my family to fall back on. Give it up.
Hey, we're back in this week in Waukesha. And that, of course, is another favorite of mine. Do They Know It's Christmas by Band-Aid. And, of course, the story behind that and providing proceeds from the sale of that album song went towards relieving those ravaged by the famine in Ethiopia. And that led to We Are the World in the USA and Tears Are Not Enough in Canada, all by the respective artists from those countries. And then, of course, the Live Aid concerts in July of 1985 in Philadelphia and Wembley. That was the Woodstock for my generation. And in the first hour, we had Lyndsay Johnson talking about a special visit she had from Lieutenant Governor Sara Rodriguez, as well as an open house they had later in the week. And, it's important to remember that we also have food insecurity locally, and there's things we can do to help. And be sure to look up the food pantry serving Waukesha County to see how you can help. There were 98,000, almost 99,000 total individual household member visits, which represented a 140% increase since 2021. And those numbers should be astounding to us. I believe that anywhere or in a wealthy society where poverty is evil. So, but before I begin the Carol Minute, I want to shout out Rich from Heartland, a regular listener who especially likes the coverage we give to high schools and high school students. And I hope you're listening, Rich. I hope you enjoyed that interview we had with Dawson of Lake Country Lutheran, a Waukesha resident here in my neighborhood that was the goalkeeper on the state champion Lake Country Lutheran team. And it's great seeing young people doing great things and moving on to do even greater things. So wishing Dawson and his teammates, classmates, all the best. So, but speaking of teammates doing well, in the Carol Minute, we are shouting out two of their football players who earned a spot in the D3Football.com all-region team on Tuesday. That includes junior tight end Reed Breckheimer from Hilbert and senior punter, and Reed got first-team honors, the tight end. Punter Noah Streveler earned second-team honors. So Reed's from Hilbert. He's a junior. And he was also named all-conference team for the third consecutive time and becomes just the fifth first-team all-region player in program history. So he was ranked 9th in the CCIW this year in receptions, 11th in receiving yards, 12th in receiving touchdowns, all of which led the Pioneers. And he also finished third on the team in rushing with 176 yards and 32 carries. So they used him a lot in some really interesting reverse plays. And a team-high 5 touchdowns on the ground. So really looking forward to seeing Reed Breckheimer in his senior year. Noah Streveler is making his second consecutive appearance on the all-region team after earning first-team honors last year. He's a senior from Stevens Point and has proven to be one of the best punters in NCAA Division III, leading the CCIW with a punting average of 42.2 yards. Very impressive. Also ranked 8th in all of Division III. So he led the league in punts inside the 20-yard line. 50-plus yard. He had 7 50-plus yard punts and 8 touchbacks. So congratulations to both of them. In the D3 football, it's picked by sports information directors at all the different colleges in the region. So it really is an honor, given the objectivity there. So more in the Carol Minute is the Pioneer women's basketball team, the toast of Waukesha in many ways, and obviously the toast of Carol. They lost another heartbreaker, but this was to number 4 Illinois Wesleyan last Saturday at the Van Male Fieldhouse. They were leading by 5 going into the last quarter, but fell short to the Titans. Natalie Gricius had 20 points, and Olivia Ranhel had 16 for the Pios. And Natalie Gricius might be leading the team in points this year. What was also impressive is that 9 different Pios scored in this game, which is encouraging when you can get 20 points or more from your bench. So looking forward to more great things from the Pios as they turn their fortunes around. Hey, a big shout-out to Dr. Julie Rapps, who is in her 25th season coaching Carroll University's Blaze dance team. she decided to go out for and then was selected to, earlier this year, the Milwaukee Bucks Grand Dancers team. So she's had the honor of performing at the Fiserv. And a lot of her students that she coached and students that know her could not be more proud and happier. And Dr. Julie, of course, is very happy to be doing that. Dance has been her passion. Coaching Carol's dance team, she's described as a great love of her life. So congratulations to Dr. Julie. And I don't know if Triple G's available to call in, but there's a lot of great holiday festivities going on over at Carol. So check that out. And in January, I'll be telling you more about why I'm even more excited about Carroll University, something that really hits home. And so stick around for that in the new year. So, and how are we doing on time here, Max? Okay, good. This gives me time. I got a nice message from my buddy, the bow tie economist, Elliot Eisenberg. And a good public service message for all of us is, this is from his Friday 5. With 2025 almost here, let us all resolve to improve the passwords we use. To that end, here are the 10 most popular passwords, all of which should be avoided. Number 10 is ABC123, then 12345, followed by, wait for it, 1234567 and password 1, all lowercase. In sixth place, there's 123456789, and then you have QWERTY, QWERTY1, QWERTY123, and number 3 is password, all lowercase. Second is 123456, and the most popular password, I never would have guessed this. Actually, Max, what do you think the most popular password is that people use?
Probably password with a capital P.
That's a really good guess, in my opinion. But actually, it's secret, all lowercase.
I find that hard to believe.
Me too. So I'm going to have to challenge Elliot on that next time I talk to him. But he is a bow tie economist, brilliant man. But he recommends random, longer passwords are the best, if you can remember them. That's my problem. And there's so many darn passwords you got to remember these days, too, which is also rough. But what'll be easy to remember, though, is your favorite Christmas songs. And Pat Nettesheim will be calling in next to talk about his favorites. Pat is the founder of Music Success, which provides music lessons and free guitars to veterans, first responders, anybody dealing with trauma. And he also has a great store in New Berlin in the Burghart's lot with great music gift ideas. So we look forward to having Pat on and so much more. And don't forget, Pete Schwab is my guest next week from Nightlife to talk about favorite Christmas movies. So stick around here on This Week in Waukesha on WAUK 540 AM and the Civic Media app.
So happy Christmas for black and for white, for yellow and red one.
Hey, we're back on This Week in Waukesha. And that is, of course, John Lennon with So This Is Christmas. And we always keep him in our hearts around this time. It was many years ago, on December 8th, that he was taken from us, murdered outside of his home in Manhattan. But quite a legacy he's left, and his contributions to Christmas music with So This Is Christmas. And it's a good time to introduce our next guest here, Pat Nettesheim of Music Success, whose charge is to talk Christmas songs. Pat, are you there?
Yes, I am here, and
good morning.
I got to consider those charges. Yes, good morning to you.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, while you're thinking of those, I think you'd be interested in hearing Max's last day of school. They had a party with the teachers at MATC, and they did some parodies on some Christmas songs. Max, you want to play like one of those real quick?
Sure.
Get Pat's feedback here. Pat's a professional musician.
Oh, it was not professional at all. Please, dude, please lower your expectations beyond as low as they can possibly go.
Let's hear it.
Let me find one here. We'll do this one.
Kevin, baby, won't you please export this for me? By 3. Been an awful good crew, Kevin, baby, so hurry to control louder tonight. Kevin, baby, a 21 silver at 4. Oh Lord, we can't start without you, dear Kevin, baby, so hurry to control room tonight.
Really is quite a parody. Who's Kevin, Max?
Think of all the things that we... Kevin is our head instructor / department chair.
Wow, so laying it on really thick then.
Yeah, he's worked in TV for like 40 years, so...
Okay, well-deserved.
Workshop.
That's terrific. Do you have another one you can throw on real quick? Or should we jump right on with Pat here?
Yeah,
okay.
we did one of Christmas Time by
here we go.
By the Gallardi Trio, so.
Okay.
This one goes out to you, Kevin Falls.
Debrief time is here. Grab a chair and fear. Kevin Falls will tear you up and leave us all in tears. Nettesheim in the air. Staff guys everywhere. It kind of bites that Kevin's right. There's just so much to share.
Well, I like that these are both really heavy on the vocals.
Yeah, we all did like our own individual separate takes of them, and then I threw them together in audition. So we had
cool.
It was a bunch of us. Aiden West, who we had on the show, was he did choir for a while, so he was about the only one of us who actually knew how to sing on key.
So this is a good time to remind everyone, a week from tomorrow, it's Letters from Santa.
Letters to
that your
Santa.
team put together, and that's on the PBS website?
So it will be on Milwaukee PBS channels 10 and 36.
So it will be on the TV. Okay.
Yes,
great.
we do have all 5 shows airing. I believe they will start at 9 o'clock and run all 5 shows all the way up until 11:30.
I look forward to checking that out.
And they will be online on Milwaukee PBS's YouTube channel as well.
Great. Okay. So Pat, I'm sure you sent your letter out to Santa. What did you ask for? But also, tell us about your favorite Christmas songs.
Well, first of all, the letters keep coming return to sender, so I'm not sure what that's all about.
Classic.
I'm still waiting for that train set, Santa.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'll tell you what. You played. It was a variation on Santa Baby, but the Eartha Kitt version would be one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Of all time. And didn't she go on to play a part in the '60s Batman series?
She was Catwoman.
Catwoman.
And Brush with Greatness, I used to work with a guy. Eartha Kitt was his babysitter when he was a young boy. His parents were vaudevillian players, and they did a show in Chicago, a year-long production. And Eartha Kitt was his babysitter when his parents would go out. I think at the time Eartha Kitt was like a teenager, but she was with the company. And she had to, in the days of segregation, she had to come from what they called the Colored Hotel to come and babysit my friend David back in the day, but he said she really was quite lovely. So, but I digress.
Yeah, your buddy David encouraged his parents to go out quite often, I'm sure.
Yeah, she was also quite a looker. That's true. Yes. So what is on your list of favorite Christmas tunes that when you're getting ready, you're wrapping gifts, or you're like I know you have a party next Thursday. What are some of the songs that really get you fired up for Christmas in the rock and roll tradition?
Like, going back into traditional songs, but really groovy versions. I like the Ronettes, Sleigh Ride. Ronnie Spector.
Okay, wow.
There's been a few versions of a lot of these songs, of course, through the years, but that one, just a lot of energy, and what a incredible voice and singer she was. So, but I would say even back further than that, this is the first Christmas song that I can remember hearing my mom playing for me, and it was Silver Bells by Doris Day's version of that.
Wow.
Doris
really?
Day. Mm-hmm. And from what I know with Waukesha history, that Doris Day was going to tour with Les Paul at some point, and then he met Mary Ford. And, history shows us what happened then.
Yeah.
If any of your listeners know different, please let me know. But that is the lore I am aware of. He chose Mary Ford over Doris Day. How about that?
So those are tough choices. My wife and I had dinner at People's Park last night, where they had us on the second floor. Right next to our table on the wall was a enlarged album cover of Les Paul, Mary Ford, like a Christmas album they did. Very cool. I put it on my Facebook post. But I thought that was a class move by People's Park as part of their holiday decorations.
I'll have to unblock your Facebook and check that out, man.
There you go. Well, I tagged you in the post, So.
Okay,
hey, Pat, did you agree with me? The greatest Christmas song of the 20th century is "The Fairy Tale of New York" by the Pogues with Kirsty MacColl.
Oh, of course. I mean.
All right.
I can't even rate that one because it put everything else to shame. But yeah. I mean, that the '80s speak loudly to me.
Yeah. Yes.
Is that the time period? Am I right?
It is. Yeah. And what was neat about that song?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment how we always joke. You can tell somebody's, when they went to high school and or college by their album collection.
We are that last crop of young people that brought LPs to college with them, even without a turntable, because you knew someone on the floor was going to have one and you could jam. And luckily for me, we had suites where I was, and so my suite mate had a really nice stereo with a great turntable. So I got to play my jams.
Oh, yeah. Good times, man.
Yeah, no doubt. But, no, real quick on Fairy Tale of New York was that the tune, that da-da-da-da-da-da, that was a parody, or that was adapted from the movie Once Upon a Time in America, which some would describe was like the Jewish Godfather. Was about the mafia or the mob, the organized crime syndicate that it was organized in the Jewish neighborhoods. I think it might have been based loosely on Meyer Lansky. So, Robert De Niro was in that, Elizabeth McGovern, James Wood.
Of course.
So now this Irish band was always taken by that, especially because they wanted the song to be about Christmas, but also about New York, and they thought that really captured it, and it did. So, but what are some other Christmas favorites of yours, Pat?
Well, I'm just thinking, what better Christmas song than one about a Jewish mobster? I mean, it just makes all the sense.
Yeah. No, it's just the tune was adapted from, yeah.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
No,
but since you mentioned, interestingly enough, since I've been paying attention, this is probably the first year in my memory that the first night of Hanukkah actually falls on Christmas Day.
That's
the
right.
Festival of Lights, in my memory, has always happened earlier. in December. But as a friend of mine from the faith that describes that they follow a lunar calendar, similar to like the Lenten calendar in the Christian or the Catholic tradition. But, yeah. How about some other songs? You were talking about God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. It was kind of an obscure one, and I forget the name of the band.
Yeah, this is pretty obscure. It came from the goth movement as it turned in. You look back into the 80s where you have, bands like The Cure that really got this goth thing rolling. But then it kind of had a couple off branches of it and went into some pretty heavy stuff. There was a band called Type O Negative, and they did a song called Red Water, which is a variation on that Christmas carol.
Okay.
Anybody outside of that genre of music probably wouldn't consider it a Christmas song, but it is.
Sure.
And it's beautiful, heavy, but it's beautiful and eerie at the same time. So it's one.
So Max, if you find that during the break, we might have to hear it.
Yeah, a red.
And what was the name of the band again? It was
Type. It's a blood type. Type O.
Type O Negative. Wow, what a name!
And what was the name of the song?
Red
Water.
Which is, another name for wine, basically, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. So, but yeah, a lot of the Christmas. I just learned this recently. Like, I Believe in Father Christmas by Greg Lake, which is one of my favorite. I played before. Is it is actually an indictment of the commercialization of Christmas, and a lot of the innocence of Christmas that he experienced as a child that just kind of gotten lost as he'd grown up. And of course, there's the Kinks, which is more obvious. Father Christmas, which is a clear-cut indictment of the commercialization of Christmas. But really fun jam, though. Talk about a great rock and roll tune.
You can always tell, and I can relate. You can always tell folks who grew up very either poor or very that's the middle class experience when you talk about it used to be really innocent, and that's because you had you had to look for the other gifts too, more than just what you might find under the tree or in the stocking.
Yes.
So I can roll.
Point taken.
For sure. Yeah, man, and
good.
I'll tell you what. I don't think, and I'd like your opinion on this, but I don't think I've ever heard a Chipmunk song that I didn't like. And man, the Chipmunks Christmas, growing up as a kid, that is just
those are great jams. Hey, Pat, can you stick around? We have a quick break, but I want to finish the show with you. We got more to talk about, including I believe you're having a Christmas party next Thursday. Can you do that for us?
You got it, brother. Absolutely.
Sounds great. So don't go away, and all of you listening, same thing. We'll be right back here on This Week in Waukesha and WAUK to wrap things up. And stick around because Amicus, a law review with James Santel is on next after 9. Adeste Fideles. Welcome back in This Week in Waukesha. Might have jumped the gun there on tuning in, but you're listening to Adeste Fideles, or I'll Come All Ye Faithful, from the Waukesha South Christmas concert in 2012. Found that. Thought it'd be a fun one to share. Good local tune. And speaking of local, also another birthday. Want to wish Ian Alton a happy 18th birthday. Lacrosse star from Waukesha West High School. And speaking of local, I also have Pat Nettesheim talking about great Christmas songs, but we're also going to talk about his new philanthropy, Music Success. Provides free lessons and guitars for anybody dealing with trauma, including veterans, first responders, again, anybody. But you're having a Christmas party. Is that open to the public this Thursday?
Yes, sir, it is. Yeah, I'd call it an open house, Christmas party, holiday party, if you will. That's
Great.
That's Thursday the 19th.
Thursday the 19th.
Yeah, things get rolling about 5 p.m. We're at Moreland Square at the corner of
in the Burghart's Plaza.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
And you can
National
probably
Moreland.
post the address there because we don't have a sign yet, Don. And
right, I'm working on that. I've got a buddy.
It's a $6,000 proposition, man, and we got about 30 days to get one up, or the property management won't be real happy. But we can fit, at one time about 40 people in the store. We have a stage, as you know, in here. It's really changed a lot since you've seen it last. We have quite an impressive light show. We will be featuring singer-songwriters throughout that time and be serving holiday cheer as well.
Oh, great. True. Yeah, because those artists will be performing on the Whammy stage, right?
Yeah, we call it the Whammy Red Carpet Stage at Music Success.
Red Carpet Stage. Nice.
Me and a couple of the Music Success board members also serve on the Whammy Board of Directors, where I guess you call it sister nonprofits, as we have a lot of the same goals, and we're able to enhance each other's mission. So we're proud of that alliance.
That is a great, and that's when I first came in contact with you guys when you were playing at the county fair. Whammy had a huge presence there.
Man. Yes, and to your point, we do give free guitars, bass guitars, drums, vocals, keyboards, and lessons to military vets, active duty, and firefighters, law enforcement, medical professionals, and their families that are living with the challenges of trauma because of their service to the community.
That's wonderful that you do that.
Thank you, man.
Hey, Max, were you able to find that song by Typo Negative?
Yeah, that was the one I played going out of the last segment.
Oh, cool. All right, good. So we got a little flavor of it.
Oh, it's a
Sounds
beautiful
great.
piece. And it's probably the only time your listeners are going to hear Typo Negative on WAUK.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. We could get our buddy with. Are they a Wisconsin band or get them on Max and Radio?
No, Typo is out of. I think they're out of somewhere in New York.
Okay, so not likely.
Not likely. The members. The keyboard player of that band went on to become a paramedic of all things, which is really interesting.
So he could be a Music Success client down the road.
A Music Success story right there.
There you go.
Hey, I just got one more thing to tell you, Don, as far as Christmas music.
Yeah.
You got to, if you haven't, and I might have missed it, but if you can play Jingle Bells, but there's many versions of the laughing version of Jingle Bells, where all the lyrics are laughed all the way through.
Oh, really?
That, to me, next to the Chipmunks, is the true. If you want to do an indictment of the commercialization of Christmas, you got to play Laughing Jingle Bells.
Okay. We're short on time, but we'll definitely maybe for next week. But Pat, I want to talk about a favorite of mine from childhood was Bing Crosby had a Christmas special on CBS. He died that fall playing golf or something but the show was pre-recorded in the summer. And David Bowie, which if you remember back in the 70s, was a very controversial figure, like long before Boy George and any of the others. Like he was that kind of bi-curious or metrosexual artist that made certain people feel uncomfortable, but had great music. And him and Bing Crosby, him and Mr. White Christmas together doing a Christmas duet was brilliant. And you'll see it all the time. You'll hear it on the radio. It's easy to find. I absolutely love that one. What do you think of it? It was a combination of like the Drummer Boy and I think another song called Peace on Earth. Do you remember it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember it, and I remember some really nice-looking sweaters for some reason. There's David Bowie in a nice sweater.
Even David Bowie,
But it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I'm a fan of both
it sure was.
Gentlemen.
Yeah,
so it worked out great.
Very cross-generational celebration of the holiday.
Yeah,
so that was fun.
Man, acceptance, and I think a lot of the country really accepted David Bowie, that side of him after
from that moment on. Yeah. So, and then about 8 years after that, we had the Band-Aid collaboration of artists in the UK with "Do They Know It's Christmas," and that led to proceeds going to address the famine in Ethiopia, and went towards larger things. And do you see yourself putting together a little collaboration, make a song or an album for Music Success as a fundraiser, but also ready to?
That may be in our future. But what you're really illustrating there is, aside from those who might criticize the commercialization of it, look at it. It's a focal point. Christmas, the holidays, are a focal point to and a catalyst to this positive human interaction and do good for one another and be accepting and give, and that's
that there's opportunities to do good. Yeah. Yes. Max, how are we doing on time? 1 minute. Hey, Pat Nettesheim of Music Success, thanks so much for joining us. Check out the Music Success Christmas party at their store in the Burghart's lot on Thursday, December 19th. I want to thank everyone for including me in your morning rituals. I want to thank my producer, the mighty Max Martinson. Maximilian, thanks a million. I invite you to stick around for Atticus, a law review with James Santel on next. Please remember that safety is everyone's responsibility, especially in this holiday season. Parental alienation is a crime. Good mental health is everyone's right. Here in Waukesha, there are no strangers, only friends who have not yet met. Go Ramila Mahagav, and see ya!
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.